Hello and welcome to today's video. Every single Monday the content is chosen by you, the viewers. So if there's a song or an album you would like me to review or check out, then be sure to let me know in the comments section of this video and one will be chosen every single week. And today we'll be taking a look at the alternate version of Porcelain by the American metalcore band Motionless In White. This version did feature on the deluxe edition of their 2022 album Scoring the End of the World, an album that continued to show the band's prominence and their ability to show a very theatrical style and really input a lot of personal influence into their music. On the actual original version that did feature on the standard version of the album, Chris Motionless actually used it as a bit of a companion track to Werewolf, which was also on the album, and the two songs were about this conversation between two parts of oneself, the compassionate side and the beast inside of somebody. So it's going to be really interesting with this alternate version of Porcelain because it's a much more stripped, much more laid back version and certainly plays much stronger on that more compassionate side. And one of the main changes is that this version is also performed by Ricky Horror Olson, the band's rhythm guitarist, who does feature on a lot of the vocals on many of their albums, but he will be the one taking the lead on this track. So will this version be able to stay whole or simply fall apart? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
God knows I've tried, but broken I bow to the beast inside. Covered my tracks, but couldn't swallow my pride. As sure as the moonlight strikes our skin, I held a wrecking ball and you were porcelain. Sometimes I even scare myself. Is it too late to question fate? And hope is fleeting, still tethered to this grim divergence of my being. I can't stop the bleeding.
So already with this version we do still see it keeping that very theatrical styling that we do see on the original, but with it being a stripped back version we're going to be losing a lot of the power that Chris really puts into the original track, but also keeping that strong meaning, again really showing this more compassionate side compared to the aggressive side, even though the vocals and the lyrics are going to keep that aggressive tone coming in with the werewolf, this idea of this beast inside that you can't escape from, this change that you go through as much as you try. It's certainly going to have that much more softer touch, rather playing on that bestial transformation and that wrecking ball coming in. It certainly adds a lot more sorrow through Ricky's vocals. You can really see that with that I held a wrecking ball and you were porcelain. So it almost feels sorrowful that he's kind of come into this person's life and certainly smashed it to pieces. He's destroyed them almost, whereas in the original Chris really comes in with this powerful almost huff puff and he's blowing somebody's house down.
I can barely stand myself. God knows I've tried, but broken I bow to the beast inside. Covered my tracks, but couldn't swallow my pride. As sure as the moonlight strikes our skin, I held a wrecking ball and your porcelain. Your face, but it couldn't save me. I fell from grace and I cracked your smile. Don't rescue me, I can't escape it. Ravenously feed my feral mind.
So one thing I really want to touch on that they actually do in this, with the actual musical side of this track, is the way they keep this plucking style very quick, kind of builds a little bit of suspense, again adding to these theatrics that we do see coming in on the track, and certainly the keys being very, very dotted, very tiptoey, again just really adding to this kind of almost chase, this hunt of this beast trying to chase somebody down and kind of just not, well, effectively destroy their lives or destroy this porcelain doll, smash it into pieces with this wrecking ball coming in, this bestial transformation. So I love how they made these musical decisions that add this theatrical element but also really fit in very well with this idea of this werewolf, this horror element they've loved to include that really just shows a lot of metaphor as well. This ability for this beast to destroy something, this aggressive, picturesque thing that you can really imagine very clearly through the lyrics.
Bend before we break. God knows I've tried, but broken I bow to the beast inside. Covered my tracks, but couldn't swallow my pride. As sure as the moonlight strikes our skin, I held a wrecking ball in your porcelain, giving I've broken my vows to reconcile. I shattered your heart and left a crack in your smile. As sure as the moonlight strikes our skin, I held a wrecking ball in your
One thing I want to touch on though is, as much as I really love Ricky's version of this, really showing that more compassionate side, I would have loved to have also heard an acoustic version sung by Chris, because it's a song that's very personal to him in the way that it talks about his going through therapy and him feeling like he's got these two sides within him and this beast that comes out and destroys his relationships. So I think Ricky does a great job of really showing that more compassionate side compared to the powerful release that we do see on the original, on the standard version of the album. But it is great to see when you can really give a bit of a spotlight on your other members of the band and really let them take the lead vocals. He certainly does a very great job with this, really just touching on many of the elements that Chris really wanted to bring to life. But again, whilst you've got Werewolf and the original Porcelain really showing this conversation with oneself, I really do like how this version really touches more on that compassionate side that Chris wanted to show. And you may have felt that Ricky could have done it better, and that's why they actually brought this to life. But I also like, again, the theatrics that are kept in with this version, and a really simple message as well. This idea of this person being porcelain, they are whole until they are broken by this wrecking ball from this werewolf, this monster that comes into somebody's life and destroys them, almost shatters them into pieces in a multitude of ways, because it's a wrecking ball, it's a being of powerful force. And I love the constant use of I in this track, again tying to Chris's personal touches that he has got with this album. The fact that it's himself that really puts the emotion and the power into the track on the original, the fact that he goes through these altered states, he never knows how to control it, and you often see that with werewolves, and that's why they are almost the perfect metaphor for this idea of this beast inside that he can't kind of control. This idea of the moonlight constantly throwing in these horror elements, which really ties in very well with the band. But certainly a great version, really showing that the band are really able to capture these more acoustic stylings on alternate versions of songs, and certainly do it very well. So that will be everything for today's video, but as always, feel free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below. How do you feel it lives up to the original on the standard edition of the album? Do you prefer Ricky's version, or do you really just like Chris's version? Which of the two do you prefer? Would love to know your thoughts. Also, if you'd like to see more Motionless in White content, I have covered one of their other tracks on the album previously, so I will post a link to that in the description. And if you'd like to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next Darjo analysis.